And now what we're going to do is we're going to get into a lesson for you. And so Bob, why don't you talk and share some ideas about purpose? You know how you talk about purpose, visions, and goals? Mm-hmm. Let's focus on purpose, why it's important, and how you determine what your purpose is.
I don't think you determine what your purpose is. I think you discover what your purpose is. There's a difference. Determining indicates deciding. And I don't think you decide. I think if you go about it the right way, you discover it. Like there's some people that should be painting all day. They're great artists. I think Michelangelo was obviously a great artist, a great sculptor. I mean, that was his purpose in his life. Well, I believe my purpose is doing what I'm doing. Your purpose is why you get out of bed in the morning. Do you know why you get up? Well, most people say, well, it's to go to work. Well, that'd be a good reason to stay in bed. You know, you say, well, everybody's doing it. That'd be another reason to stay in bed. If you're ever doing what everybody's doing, you're probably going in the wrong direction. Your purpose is your reason for living. Now, I went to a ranch at Clear Lake Oaks, California, to the Casa, the Cy Seminars Ranch, Jane Will Heights Ranch. And I went there with two other people who I was associated with at the time, and I spent 3 days discovering and then wording my purpose. And my purpose is to live and work in a prosperous environment that encourages productivity and pleasure, so that I might provide more service to my family, my company, my community, my nation, and ultimately in the world. I want to improve the service I render to my family, my company, my community, my nation, and ultimately the world. And that's what I'm doing. Now, to do that, I want to live and work in a prosperous environment. Because if you're in a prosperous environment, you can be more creative. And then I can do this better than I'm doing it. Now, this is the first time we've had a broadcast like this, but we've already decided we're going to do more of these because it's such a good idea, and it's a great way to serve the people that we provide service to. We want to improve our service. Well, I want to wake people up. Now, that is my purpose in life. And so what you want to do is sit down and maybe take a pen and a pad and then ask yourself, what do I really love doing? Now, you may have to spend a while at this. You might get up an hour early every morning and go sit under a tree somewhere if you're in a nice climate, or pick a favorite chair, someplace where you're not going to be disturbed, and totally relax and say, if I could spend my life doing something, what do I really love doing? Now, since you don't ask yourself that question every day, it might take a while for this answer to come to the surface. But it comes to your consciousness. And it may take a while. You may have to do this every morning for 3 months. But it would be well invested, the time.
So purpose, we're going to talk about vision and goals. What's the difference between your purpose and your vision?
Well, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
Your purpose is why you get out of bed, why you're here. Why are you here on this planet? I'm going up to a ranch from here, and the theme for the conference that's going on at this ranch is legacy. What are you going to leave behind? You want to make your purpose something that people will benefit from long after you're gone. And if you're doing what you love, it will be. Your vision is how you're going to execute your purpose. Your purpose is why you're living. Your vision is how you're going to execute it. So your vision would be a long-range vision of a whole bunch of things that you would love to do. Like I have all kinds of things I want to do. When I'm in the air, I spend almost all my time, hardly ever watch a movie or anything like that. I spend almost all my time thinking. And I think, how can I do what I'm doing better? How can I do it in a bigger way? Like, we started a streaming club. We have a streaming club where I stream every week. And we're going to expand on that. And that was the result of me I went into Tel Aviv, to Cyprus, to Melbourne, to Auckland, to Los Angeles, and back to Toronto. And the people were all saying, could I just spend a little time with you? And I thought, God, I should be able to spend time with them, but I had to catch another plane. And so the idea of the streaming club came to me. So that was an idea. It was part of my vision, and I acted on it immediately. So your vision is a long-range view of all the things that you'd like to do that are all on purpose. Every one of them would be helping you execute your purpose.
Okay, so let me ask you a two-part question. If you're determining or discovering your purpose, you're trying to discover your purpose, first off, what's the impact when you do discover it on your whole life? And secondly, how do you keep moving forward before you discover it if you're having a challenge discovering what it is?
Well, you keep moving forward by doing the best you can do out of whatever you're doing. Even if you're doing something you don't like, do it as well as you can do it. You'll outgrow it. I mean, give everything you've got to what you're doing. Do it as well as you can possibly do it. And if you can think of a way to improve it, improve it. But at the same, even if you don't like it, give it everything you've got. And you're bringing something out of yourself that won't come out any other way. Like we've got deep reservoirs of talent and ability. Every one of us has awesome potential. But at the same time, work at discovering your purpose. And then you'll start to get all kinds of ideas flying into your mind. God, I could do this, I could do that. And if you start to do them all at the same time, you go nowhere. You're in a very confused state. So you mark them all down, and you've got this wide vision of all these things you want to do. Then it's vitally important that you establish a goal. So the purpose is why you're living, why you get out of bed, what you spend your days doing. Your vision is how you execute your purpose, and your goal is taking a bite out of the vision. Mm-hmm. It's how you execute your vision. You don't do all these things that are part of your vision at once. First of all, you may not be able to afford to do them all at once. You may not have the talent or the resource to do them all at once, but they're there, and you're going to do them.
Now, I want to take you back 50 years. 52 years before you discovered what
before you were born.
Before I was born, long time, and you hadn't discovered your purpose yet. Okay, so put your mindset there, and then all of a sudden you discovered this is what I was born to do. And what I want to know is, what was the impact in your mind, mentally?
It was huge.
Your whole environment.
It was huge.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge.
And is it worth it to do the work to discover it? If it's worth for you.
Is it worth it? Hey, listen. You get one bite at the apple. You're here. You get one life, so far as we know. Yeah, it's very worth it. It's the most important thing a person could do. Then your life has real meaning. But you see, when I first discovered this, it took me a while to really articulate it, but I realized the cleaning business was almost incidental. What I was enjoying, what I loved to do, was helping the cleaners set goals, help them get jobs. An interesting story on this. My daughter, Colleen, when she first started working years ago, she got a job at an IT place. And she'd come home, and I'd be asking her about her job, and she'd tell me it was pretty exciting. And she brought home a newsletter from her company. And I was reading it. It was kind of interesting. And I saw the editor of the news magazine was Bessie Tamaris. And I wonder, Tamaris is not a common name to me. In Greece it might be pretty common, or Macedonia, but I said, Colleen, when you go to work tomorrow, ask Bessie Tamaris if her dad's name was Marinus. And she come back a couple of days later. Oh my God, she says, you'll never believe, Dad. That's Bessie's dad. He's dead now. But her mother told her all kinds of things about you. Marinus Tamaris was cleaning offices for $1 an hour when I met him. He could not drive a car. I got him into his own business. I got him into it. I told him if he'd buy a car, I'd teach him how to drive it. I'd get up at 5 in the morning, go out and teach him how to drive it. And I helped him build his cleaning business. See, that was what I loved doing. And Maris went on, he owned 2 or 3 fast food businesses. He owned a cleaning business. He owned a number of businesses. He became a very wealthy man. But he had passed away. But her mother told him all about what Mr. Bob.
Mr. Bob.
And I have, now when you're in my home, I have on, if my desk is here right against the wall, I have a little stone statue of Socrates and one of Plato. And one Christmas, Bessie could just talk. And she came into the office with Marinus. I can still see him come in the office. Merry Christmas, Mr. Bob, and gave me these. Aww. Yeah, they're still sitting there. Now that was back in the early 60s, a long time ago.
You must have so many stories like that of people that you've just transformed their life.
There's probably a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I just got one from Marion and Georgiou. She's a great singer. I think I have her last name pronounced wrong. But she's singing with one of the singers from the Fort that was on America's Got Talent. I think they run about number 4th. They were right up in the finals for winning it. And she wrote me a long letter. I just got it about a week ago about how she started studying my stuff and then got into 6 Minutes. And it's changed her life. And now she's dedicated her life to singing. She's a recording artist, beautiful looking woman, and a phenomenal singer. I just been listening. That's just in the last couple of days. Yeah, it's helped a lot of people. But you see, that was where I first discovered it. I realized that cleaning was almost incidental. I really loved helping people become aware of their potential. Because you see, when I looked at my life, I was in England, and I was earning all kinds of money, and I was in such a great position. I was living just a charmed life. And I thought, wow, if I could do this, anybody could do it. And all I wanted to do was teach people how to do it. But then I had to figure out, what did I actually do? And I didn't know what I had done that brought on such tremendous success for me. So I made up my mind I was going to study it. And it took me 9 years. And it was at the end of the 9 years when I became aware of what I had done. I thought, I got to leave the cleaning business. I got to go to work with Nightingale. I've got to learn. I've got to get to know more about what he knows. And
so you worked with Earl for 5 years.
Yeah.
And just got an amazing mentoring and learning experience.
Well, actually, a lot of the mentoring I got came from his partner, Lloyd Conant. Now, I got a lot from Earl, working with him, being around him, watching him, watch how he worked and what he studied. And if he studied something, I studied. If he subscribed to a magazine, I subscribed. I mean, I just wanted to pick his brain every chance I could. But his business partner, Lloyd Conant, he was the one that really took the lid off my mind and got me thinking much bigger. Mm-hmm. There's a great book, The Magic of Thinking Big by Schwartz. Everybody should own the book. Well, I was reading that book and working with Lloyd Conant, just starting to, at the same time. And I started to realize there isn't any end to what you can think. There is no big. Nothing's big, nothing's small. Like you could say that chair is big. Relative to what? Relative to that chair over there. There is no big, no small. We make it big and small in our mind. And Lloyd really helped me with that.
So you were there for 5 years and you just started thinking bigger and bigger. And then tell us about how you came up with the idea of starting your own company, and also maybe one of the failures that you experienced and how you got through it.
I just did not talk about the failures. I've had some beauty. I really believe if the failure is big enough, it can inspire you. Mm-hmm. I treat winning and losing. I was talking to you in the car coming here this morning. I treat winning and losing exactly the same today. I see them both as necessary steps to get us to where we're going. Big failures, big lesson. Little failure, little lesson. What was your question? I'm sorry, I got off track there.
Well, just to talk about how you came up with the idea of forming your own company and what it was like at the beginning.
I was selling recorded material, and I watched people buy it and not use it. And I went to Lloyd one day, and I said, Lloyd, I think we should quit selling this stuff. I think we should sell a seminar and give them the recorded material. Well, he was treating me like I just fell out of a tree. He said, no, I think we'll leave the seminar business to Carnegie. That was Carnegie seminars. And we'll stay in the recorded business. So I knew then it was time for me to move on. I had gone there to get an education. I think I got a doctorate's degree in personal development. Now keep in mind, when I come into this, I think Jim Rohn had just come in. He was in a few months ahead of me. I think Ziegler and I come in about the same time. Now they're both gone. So I mean, I've been in this probably longer than anybody else in the business. And I really believe you have to be taught why this works. Otherwise, you could get it and it would be working, but you wouldn't really enjoy it the same because you couldn't share it with other people. Do you know that most very successful people cannot articulate on why they are? As a matter of fact, I've gone to work for some of the largest companies in the world, and the training department does not know why the stars in the company are stars. They don't know why, and the stars don't know. And it's just assumed that these people that are outselling or outperforming everybody else are smarter. Some of them aren't smarter. Some of them aren't even very smart. And some of the most brilliant people in the company are outright failures. Now that does not mean that the dumb are all winning and the brilliant are all losing. It doesn't mean that at all. But it does mean that it's not how smart you are. It's not how much formal education you have. It's how are you programmed. Because school programs us. We're programmed genetically. That's why you look like you look. That's why your body's the form it is. I could read your energy like a book, and I know your genetic nature. That's part of our, that's from the moment of conception. Mom's DNA and Dad's DNA come together, and that forms your DNA. That's you. And an attractive force is set up, and 280 days later, you make your debut on the planet. And then you go through what's called environmental conditioning, up until you're around 5, and then you go to school, and they really start to condition you. So you see, we're conditioned with a lot of information that is false. And what I had started to do, I had started to reprogram that conditioning back in 1961 with recorded material. Now, it took me a long time. It took me 9 years to figure out what I had done. But I know why you're doing what you're doing, and I can show you, and I could prove it to you beyond a shadow of a doubt. I don't care how skeptical you are. I teach this to engineers, and engineers are very skeptical. Lawyers, psychiatrists, all the professionals. In fact, I've had psychiatrists tell me what I taught them in a year, I taught them more about the mind than they had learned in 4 years of medical school, 5 years of psychiatric training. And there's more than one psychiatrist has told me that. I have studied the mind for 52 years, and I've come to the firm conclusion that I can teach how the mind works to a child, and it should be taught to a child. If a child can learn a language, if a child can become multilinguistic before they even go to school, and in all kinds of countries people learn 4 and 5 languages before they're 5 years old, you can certainly teach a child how the mind functions. Because the part of our mind that gathers information, the part that schools loading our mind up with information, is not the part that controls our behavior, and it's our behavior that produces our results. There's 2 parts to our mind, the conscious and subconscious. The subconscious is conditioned. It's conditioned genetically and then environmentally. School doesn't understand that. If school understood it, they would never follow the structure that they're following.
That's what blew my mind when I first saw you in seminar, 7 years ago, was this concept that you're talking about. And I don't know anyone else out there in the industry that's teaching this and then showing people how to implement it and make changes.
I don't know anybody that's teaching exactly the way I teach it.
Yeah.
Val Newell and Dr. C. Harry Roeder taught me the basics about the mind, and they're both dead. There's people that I've studied with, that have studied with me, that are teaching part of it. And of course, we bring consultants into our business. We put people in this business, that's part of our company, and we train them to teach this information. And we are always working at how can we train them better to do a better job and earn more money, reach more people. And that's what we do with our consulting program. But I don't know anybody who's studied this more than I have myself. Now, I always say I'm really good at this. I am very good at it. I'm not much good at anything else, but I don't want to do anything else. I just want to get better at what I'm doing.
Well, I have worked with you for 7 years, and I keep trying to find the bottom of the bucket of your knowledge, and I can't even.
There is no bottom.
There is no bottom.
No, listen, there is no bottom. You're dealing with infinite knowledge. Understand this. All the knowledge there ever was or ever will be is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. All science and all theology teach that. All the power there ever was, all the power there ever will be, is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. All science teaches that. All theology teaches that. I don't care whether you're Hindu, Christian, Jew, Muslim, it doesn't matter. All religion teaches that. All the power is omnipresent. So when you tap into it, it's within you. And when you tap into it, there is no bottom. There is no top. You're tapping into something that's infinite. And you are letting it flow through you. You are merely an instrument for spirit to work through. We're spiritual beings. And our spiritual DNA is perfect. It requires no modification, absolutely no improvement.